right, guys, welcome
Right.
back to another Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing Bassmaster Open Pros Pick'em at Lake Guntersville. You know, Bassmaster Elite Series schedule is just winding on down. I mean, they fished a bunch of events. They're wrapping up Neely Henry just a little over a week ago, where Wes Logan won and Matt actually picked him. I mean that is kind of a going trend on this fantasy group, as we tend to pick a lot of the winners. And Todd even picked second place, which was Paul Mueller. And I'm actually really surprised Paul didn't win the tournament. I thought he had it, honestly. But overall, guys, we just wrapped up the James River. It was a tough fishery. The fish were biting, though. I mean, they definitely were biting in comparison to years past. Congratulations, Brandon Polinick, on his win. Um, but guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But first, let me say this: I know we're all missing one guy, Bradley Hallman. He is at an event. He's doing some stuff for some sponsors, so he was not able to join us for today's fantasy breakdown. So he is going to be missing in this one, but he's still going to make his picks, obviously. So, guys, let's go ahead and jump right on into the fantasy picks. Let's go Group A. Pangrac, what do you got on Group A?
I'm going with a guy in Group A who in his BASS career has never had a top 10 finish on Lake Guntersville. That's Greg Hackney.
Oh.
I was shocked when I started to look at that, unless I overlooked something. I mean, I know he's done well on TVAs, but you're talking about a fishery that a lot of things are going on this time of the year. And I think Greg is going to power fish here and catch him.
No, I agree. You know, I really struggled in this group, mainly because of Brock Mosley and his unbelievable consistency that he's had. I mean, every time I don't pick him, he ends up blasting him, which is I don't think I've picked him all year. And I'm not going to pick him here either. And the only reason I'm not picking him is because Buddy Gross is in this list, and I've known Buddy for a while, and when they are even remotely offshore, the guy is extremely hard to beat. And I know they're on those shallow ledges. We just wrapped up Pickwick just a few weeks ago, and they were already on those shallow ledges there. It's not going to be any different. He's going to blast them, no questions asked. What about you, Todd? What you got?
Yeah, like so there was a couple of things. I'm with you. When I looked at this, I had to go back and look to see what they were actually like, what lake they were on, because I was looking at Buddy Gross, and right above him is Seth Fighter. Now look, I get Seth Fighter, but I'm sitting here going 22% and 5%, and I'm going, are we still like? I thought I was on the wrong page, but I got to go Buddy. We fished against Buddy for way too long. Yeah. And he never disappoints on these lakes.
Ever.
Like, ever.
I mean, look I mean, you look at Pickwick, his success on Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, it doesn't matter. If it's a TVA lake, the guy straight up catches him.
I don't get the 5%, but I'm glad. Hey,
yeah.
So I bet you it goes up after this now.
Yeah, it probably will go up slightly. I mean, but you look at this list of guys, though, guys. I mean, Group A is a list of hammers. I mean, you got Swindle that lives on Guntersville. You got Buddy Gross. You got Hank Cherry, who won a classic on Guntersville. You know, and then they're going to be postponed, so the jerkbait bite's going to definitely play. You got Hackney, Wes Logan coming off a win, Brandon Polinick coming off a win, Jason Christie coming off a win, Patrick Walters coming off his ridiculous last couple of years. Seth Fighter, Brock. I mean, like, it's a hard list to pick. I mean, I get it, but I do think Buddy is due for a big event at this one for sure. Let's go ahead and go into Group B. I'll lead us off in Group B. I'm going on lesser owned. I'm way down in the standings, guys, and this is one of those opportunities to try to catch up. I'm going Matt Robertson. He just wrapped up a win on Kentucky Lake. Team tournament win. He's kind of getting that TVA groove before practice. I'm hoping that it works out for him at Guntersville. I don't know his track record on Guntersville, but I feel pretty strongly that he's going to have a good event. What about you, Todd? What you got in Group B?
I wanted to go Brian New because I just think Brian will catch him, but I know Mullins too. And he's going to stay offshore. He won't even know. He doesn't even know how to catch a fish shallow. I fished with him the other day. He's going to get mad at me. I don't even think he knows how to catch fish shallow. He's going to stay with a crankbait and throw that plug all over for the entire practice. I don't care if he zeros. That's what he's going to do. And at 1.3%, I think it's a steal. So it's an easy one for me. I think he's going to catch him.
See, I was the same way. I I like Mullins a lot in that group. I like Matt Airy a lot. There's a lot of really good fishermen in Group B as well. What do you got, Pangrac? Who you got?
Man, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention it's. I'm not gonna go with them. I might go with them. Don't hold my feet to the fire if I change and go with them. But I mean, Brandon Lester's at 8.5%. We've seen what he's done on the TVAs, what he did in the Classic on Guntersville. I mean, I think he's a really safe pick. I think he's going to figure out a way to catch him and knows how to catch him when they're in a lot of different phases. But right now I got Scott Martin in the B group. I mean, he's at 10% and he seems like a pretty safe horse to ride in this one. A lot of experience, a lot of TVA experience, and he can mix it up and do a number of things. He can go shallow. He can also go deep and do the offshore thing, comfortable with the grass. So I think he's also a safe pick. But like I said, I'm 50-50 between Lester and Martin right now, but I got Martin on my team.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad one. I mean, coming off the Pickwick tournament, we know there was a massive shad spawn going on. It should be kind of starting to go away, but there still should be some remnants of the shad spawn at Guntersville. So we're going to see that in play. We're going to see shallow ledges in play. We're probably going to see some deep ledges in play as well. But like to Todd's point, the Brian New pick, likes throwing a buzz bait. I think that is a solid pick as well. I don't know if there's really too many you can go wrong with in this particular group. All of them are really safe. I mean, honestly, a lot of really safe picks. It just depends on at what level you need to catch up in fantasy. In my position, I need some really low percent owned guys because I got to catch up in points. So that's kind of where I'm at. You look at the safer approach. Pangrac, I mean, he's like, 651? 600s. He's ranked around in the 600s.
Yeah, Henry killed me.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you look at somebody like that and you look at me and I'm like ranked 3,000 or something. So you got to have to play that by ear. But Todd, who do you got in Group C? Let's hear who you got.
I'm actually doing research right now. Not like Matt's research, not great research, but
not great research.
It's I just wanted to see because this pick is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's out there, but I'm not exactly just picking these like these guys that have been doing this forever. I'm picking Justin Hamner. Okay. My research was really simple. I just wanted to see where Northport was. Like how close was he? Like more of that Neely Henry type stuff, or was he close enough to fish Guntersville enough? Sometimes I don't like the whole being a big time local. Sometimes being familiar with it is just as good as being a local. So I went him. I think does anyone else just feel like this has just been an Alabama year? Like open
except for last week.
Like it just seems like every time I look up, all we do is pick Alabama guys because it's an open, everything's Alabama.
Yeah, no doubt. What about you, Pangrac? Who do you got?
In the C group?
Yep.
Man, the same reason that Todd's going with Mullins in the B group is why I'm going with Keith Combs in the C group. That guy's going to put a chartreuse powder blue back 6XD and 5XD in his hand and fish every single ledge out there for early post spawners. And I mean, dude, the guy had one really good day at Lake Fork, but I think he's due for a really, really strong tournament. And he's got one top 5 on Guntersville in the past. Granted, it was in April. It was the one that Skeet Reese won on the big swim bait. But I think Keith Combs at 10% has a lot of upside to crack over 20 a day doing what he likes to do. And with the lake spread out, kind of maybe be able to get a little bit to himself.
He just came off a win at Raymond too.
He won that. Yeah. Well, and that was my exact pick as well because of coming off his win on the Toyota Series at Rayburn, catching them deep there when the deep bite actually was kind of difficult to come by and really catching them big too. So Keith Combs, once again, offshore cranker. I think he's going to have a good event. Let's go Group D. Pangrac, I'll let you go ahead and lead this one off.
Man, I used to trust Zaldane and all this stuff, but 100% what he's going to do. He's going to have a mag draft welded in his hand, especially after, watching a mag draft do some damage this past week in the Open. I think Justin Atkins has to frickin' be your pick in the D group.
I don't hate that pick at all. I mean, I think that's a really good one. I would actually, I'm still going Zaldane, guys. Like, I can't help it because I think he's just as likely to pick up the mag draft as he is pick up the big spoon.
Yeah, good point.
And he is a big bait, big bass kind of guy. And when it comes to a tournament like that, it's hard not to go with a guy that just likes to sling the big stuff. I mean, he's going to catch some big bass. I mean, he could honestly, like, truthfully, that guy right there could catch big bass of the tournament. I'm not going to say he will, but if there's anybody in this field that I could say, man, he might catch the biggest one of the entire event, it could be him or like a Steve Kennedy, like something like that. I mean, those two guys, just the way they fish, the way they approach things, it's really hard not to go with those two. But I do like Zaldane. I know he's a higher percent owned. I just like his big bait approach, and that's just how he fishes. I like it. But you, Todd, who you got?
I realize this guy is now becoming my Lee Livesey of last year. Not saying he's not as high and low, he is more consistent, but every time he's in one of these things, I pick him. And I'm picking Justin Atkins. And I'm gonna call Atkins up. I swear I'm gonna call him and be like, hey dude, you gotta do it for me this week. And he is paying attention because he didn't do well on one of those events, and he made a post about it, like saying, hey guys, I sorry I messed all y'all up. I don't know if y'all pay attention to that. But so yeah, come on, Atkins, you got this. No big deal.
Well, and I mean, and once again, we talk about the Alabama line of things, Tennessee, those kind of guys. I mean, you got one in this group, Scott Canterbury. He's highly owned. Fishes Guntersville, has fished Guntersville a ton. I mean, a pretty safe pick. He's coming off a really bad tournament.
He's going to catch him.
He's going to. I promise you right now, he got really mad after Neely Henry. Yeah. He showed up late. I don't know if y'all watched, but I mean, he did show up late on the second day, and I bet that lit a fire under his butt that he hadn't had in a while. So I would expect him to have a really good event. I just like the Zaldane approach. I can't help myself. Like, I love the big bait guys. That's probably why I'm ranked in the 3000s instead of the top 1000. So let's go Group E. Group E, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, was the hardest one for me. You have a couple of Alabama guys in the group that have had some success there. Kelly J, Bill Wilder. I kind of went a different approach here. I went a Mike Huff. Had a good event at Chickamauga last year, I think. In a tough event. I just like the guy. I mean, he's a good fisherman. He's low owned, not like super low, but I think he's kind of due for a good tournament. So I'm going to Mike Huff here. I'm kind of staying away from the Alabama guys. I did that the last time, and they kind of burned me a little bit. So I kind of went a different approach this time. Pangrac, who you got in Group E?
Man, I don't think I've picked him yet this year, but I mean, Daryl Gleason, he's comfortable with the swim bait, offshore, the grass, Toledo Bend, Rayburn, that type of stuff. We saw what he did in the opens when it was kind of like a weird in-between deal with brush piles and grass and some flipping stuff going on at Sam Rayburn. Todd would know, you guys would know if that translates better. But I mean, I think he's in his comfort zone here. I don't know if he's going to catch him or not, but I think he's going to be able to do what he likes to do and know what he's looking for.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a really good offshore fisherman. He spent a ton of time off on Toledo Bend guiding and doing that deal. So, I mean, he's very well versed in the offshore game for sure. I can't pick him. He won't let me pick him anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Great.
He did text me one day and he was like, man, you got to stop picking me.
Is that why we don't do the dark horses anymore?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was somebody else. Todd, who do you got in Group E?
I don't know much about Bill Wilder. Like, I'm definitely going between him and Kelly J. I've learned on some of these, you just got to just go a little bit safe.
Yeah.
So I don't know enough about Wilder. I know what Kelly J has done. Help me pick Wilder. Why should I pick Wilder?
I mean, he definitely has some experience there. I mean, he's been fishing pro for just a few years. At least on the Elite Series, he had a win at, I think, St. Clair. Was that last year before last? He's kind of been one of those situations where he's not had a good year and he's going to his home pond, or what I would consider probably one of the places that he's cut his teeth. I mean, he should definitely have a good event.
He did finish 27th there in 2019. So.
Yeah.
I like it. Y'all convinced me. I really wanted to go Kelly J The thing that scares me about Kelly J, and I know it's going to be like a post spawn deal, and I know you can catch some on a jerk bait. Man, it just I don't know how much rain they've got in current. I don't know if I don't know if the current and all that and maybe not as clear. I don't know. I don't know if that's all going to play in the best of hands. I could be wrong about that. Someone's going to be like, of course it's going to be even better. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem like that's fitting him exactly.
You know, and I think truly, guys, if you look at this event, they are in such prime position. Like, this tournament could change throughout the entire event. Like, the first day of the tournament, the fish might be caught shallow, and as the event progresses, it could be a deep, like all deep tournament. And that's where the experience of guys that are locals, like a Bill Wilder, like Scott Canterbury, I think are really going to play into their hand, because they know how to make those adjustments on the water, because they've been there so many times. You know, we're in that weird transition. I got a buddy of mine that fishes Guntersville literally every day, and he said the fishing's been really off. I mean, they were spawning just a few weeks ago.
Let me interrupt you, Andrew. I went out the other day with my boy. And I know you don't like to timestamp. This was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking mid-May on a lake around my house that they have been spawning on since January. We caught 7 or 8 in about an hour off beds.
Yeah.
We went up there to go catch perch, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, let's just catch some bass. So I mean, that's insane that they're still spawning around here, and they've been doing it for 5 months now.
Well, I know at Pickwick I caught, you know, my weight came basically off of beds. I didn't see them. I know they were spawning though, because they were in literally this deep of water. But I mean, it's crazy to know that these fish are still really spawning hard. But just like what you're talking about, they started really early this year, and when that freeze happened, it kind of jacked some things up. But there's still a bunch of fish that have already gotten their spawn done and have started moving off. And Pickwick absolutely showed that just a few weeks ago. So I do think it's going to be an offshore tournament. Whether it starts out as one or ends as one, it's going to eventually, whoever has the best offshore strategy will win this tournament. I mean, I do not think it's going to be one shallow, not this year. These fish have just got, in Guntersville, get so much pressure too. And I think that tends to push those fish off on those shallow ledges, shell beds, eelgrass, that kind of stuff. And I really think you're going to see that all kind of shine this week on Guntersville. So here, guys, this is one of my favorite parts. It's talking about the weights. What are the weights going to be? Are they going to crack 100 pounds? Are they not going to crack 100 pounds? It is post-spawn, so you know the fish are a bit skinnier. But, I mean, it is Guntersville, and we know what it's used to.
You're over there talking about 100 pounds, and I got to change my weight.
Oh, I'm just asking. I don't know. I mean, do you think it will, or do you?
No.
Okay. What do you think, Pangrac? What do you think your weight is going to be, your tiebreaker weight for this week?
I got 90 pounds, 9 ounces.
Golly. What about you, Todd? What you got?
I don't even want to tell y'all what I had at first, but it was low apparently, and I'm going to keep it low.
What you got?
I think too much is going on. I haven't seen. You notice how we haven't seen like these giant weights anywhere across the country? Like, I think something happened this year that made them, like, they're all so spread out. I don't think anything's like, you know how sometimes they all spawn at once and they all go out there?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that that's playing out anywhere we've been.
No.
And I think maybe another week or two we might hit that. So I got it at 84.3.
Well, it's funny. I actually went 91.6. I went slightly above Pangrac there. Guys, I mean, I know, but you look at a guy like Buddy Gross and what he brings to the table on the TVA just alone, like just that guy alone. I mean, we didn't even say Clint Davis's name, but you look at guys like Clint Davis, these guys that are offshore, big bait, big fish kind of guys. I mean, Guntersville is packed full of 5 to 6 pounders. Someone is going to figure out and crack the code on maybe one spot or 5 spots or a pattern as to how they can catch these fish. I mean, I was a part of that one. I fished a FLW tour event on Kentucky Lake. It's been a few years ago now. And I had over 80 pounds and finished 8th in that event. Now, that was when Kentucky was actually fishing pretty good. But those fish had just pushed out. And when you hit that first wave of post spawners that go to those ledges,
Mhm.
the weights can just be absolutely ridiculous.
And I mean, what do you think guys like Steve Kennedy and Zaldane and Brandon Polinick and Lee Livesey, like they're all going to be throwing stuff that like 5 to 8 pounders eat.
Yeah, like the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see like a Strike King 8.0 on the deck of some of these guys fishing those shallow bars, big 7-8 inch swim baits. I mean, I really think this is gonna be a big fish show. I think they're gonna blast them. And I mean, we didn't even like we kind of I've mentioned Hank Cherry, but like we've seen what Hank Cherry does there with a jerkbait, and the post spawn with a jerkbait has been proven that it is absolutely deadly.
I
Like,
mean, we know how it's all going to be. It's going to be Patrick Walters with a jerkbait about 20
Dude,
feet in front of the boat.
it would not surprise me, not even a little bit, if he goes out there and live scopes them up and just smacks them. I mean, he definitely has become probably, I would say he might be the best live scope angler out there right now. I mean, truthfully, like he's really, really good at it. And I mean, obviously he's proven it. So guys, that's a wrap for the Fantasy Fishing Show. Thank y'all guys for joining us today. Todd, Pangrac, I hope y'all go follow these guys on Instagram, YouTube. We're all posting a lot of stuff, tournament results. Todd just wrapped up an Angler of the Year. Congrats on that. And I hope y'all enjoy this, and I'll see y'all at the next event.